This is Bloomberg Businessweek with Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
Speaking of things changing, we are really, many of us, rethinking our lives post-pandemic, how we work, where we work, the stuff we have, how we want to live our lives, experience it. And I think one of the questions we ask a lot is, when is enough enough?
Yeah, it's a question actually that our next guest struggled with for years. When she found herself stuck on the treadmill of professional life, she earned more money, she accomplished more professionally, she got awards, but she was still unsatisfied with her life. And things suffered. Her relationship suffered, her health suffered, and even her self-worth.
All right, so to get out of this rut, she developed a blueprint that she's written about in a new book. So we are delighted to have with us financial advisor at Manisha Thakor. She is author of the new book, MoneyZen, The Secret to Finding Your Enough. She has worked for many years, her background in financial services, and today she joins us on Zoom in Maine. Manisha, good to have you here on Bloomberg Businessweek. Tell us about your journey that ended up in this book, MoneyZen.
Sure. And thank you, Carol and Tim, for having me. So I woke up midlife at 50, realizing that ever since I graduated from Harvard Business School, I had been living a life where I was surviving as a human doing and not thriving as a human being. I literally had spent 30 years of my life on this 24/7 hamster wheel of never enough. And I hit a wall. I became very, very ill. And it all just came together for me that I had been driven by toxic beliefs and behaviors around work, money, success, accomplishments. I wanted to understand how that happened. And when I figured it out, I wanted to share the answer with people. And that's why I wrote the book.
So what would you describe as being toxic about those things? Because for a lot of people, I think that, they think that perhaps the things that you experienced are in fact motivating to them.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The difference is when you feel that no matter how much you earn, how much you achieve, how many accolades you receive, it's just never enough. And almost kind of like you feel like you're never enough. In other words, that line keeps moving forward and there's a lack of satisfaction as you hit those various goals. If you're feeling great as you're hitting those goals, then you don't have this problem. But the thing that really distinguishes, I think, people who are struggling with the cult of never enough the way I was, is an inability to kind of disconnect from this feeling that the only answer to feeling better, be it at work or professionally, is more, do more, be more. And
Manisha, can I jump in for a second? Because it's funny, we were talking about this on our planning call, and it's like, people who often reach levels of success like yourself, financial as well as professional, and then all of a sudden they take a moment and they're like, yeah, I don't need any of this. Like it's kind of easy to say maybe from your vantage point, I think. So help us understand that.
So,
and I'll go as basic as we were asking on a call. Is this just, kind of rich people saying this after making money, to be fair?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's an excellent question. No, I mean, in my research, I talked to yoga instructors who felt this exact same way. I talked to academics who were woefully underpaid, who felt the exact same way. Okay. So it spans all income and ages. It doesn't have to do, interestingly enough, with the income level or the amount of net worth that you have. What it has to do with is this feeling of emptiness inside of you, which many executive coaches tell me that anywhere from 75 to 100% of their successful clients are driven by this. And so it is this feeling in our culture that we are what we do, no matter what that profession is or it pays. And unless we keep excelling at that, we don't exist as humans. That's the core of the problem that I'm discussing. Definitely not a rich person problem.
So let's transition to the solution here and how people make that transformation, how you found that blueprint, how you wrote that blueprint. The first step, I guess, is recognizing, that somebody actually needs this kind of help. But how do you make this transformation internally?
Yeah, so 3 steps. 1, if you feel like the answer to self-worth equals question is not something you're happy about, that's the sign you need to do this. In my case, it was self-worth equals net worth. In the case of a yoga instructor I talked to, it was self-worth equals the number of students in her class. Academics, self-worth equals the number of papers I published, how many times they're cited. If you're confused, go to MoneyZenquiz.com and it'll help you see if you're trapped in this cult of never enough. Step 2 is not fun because it's not quick. I identified 4 buckets of pain points: personal small t traumas, cultural norms, societal influences, and evolutionary biological factors that come together in unique ways for all of us to create that hole that we're trying to fill with more money, accolades, success, etc. And step 3 is then to replace that negative modeling, self-worth equals something that's sucking you down, because you now have the understanding of where that came from, and replace it with a new mental framework of financial health plus emotional wealth is what's going to drive long-term life satisfaction, or what I call MoneyZen. And what's important is that financial health number, that varies for everyone. The definition is you can meet your expenses comfortably without stressing out about money. You've got a safety net and you feel good about your savings plan for the future, but you're not living in the future.
So a financial component, though, it's funny. I remember when Eat, Pray, Love came out, and I think Oprah was on air saying everybody should do that, like take a year off. And it's like, okay, but I got to pay the rent.
Sounds great.
So yeah, exactly. Thank you, Oprah. I agree. We should all do that. So, right. And forgive me, love you, Oprah, but I'm just trying to say, there's a reality aspect of this, and you mentioned money. I mean, you still have to support yourself.
Absolutely. And that brings me to the second piece, which is emotional wealth. That I found I was literally emotionally bankrupt. I was divorced. I had no hobbies. I had no friends. And this isn't simply because of the industry that I was in. This can happen in any profession that you invest, you allocate all of your most scarce resource of time into the work bucket. We all know asset allocation is one of the most important things in portfolio performance over the long run. And my argument is, societally, we are not encouraged to allocate our scarce resource of time to emotional wealth at the same time that we're allocating it to financial health. And emotional wealth doesn't have to be expensive. It can be, I know this sounds trite, but literally we have an epidemic of loneliness, disconnection, anxiety, stress. It could be picking up the phone and talking to a friend. It could be stepping outside in nature. But the key point is we value each other for what we do. And as a result, we've lost connection with the value that comes from investing along our lives in the things that make us happy, many of which don't cost a lot of money.
Manisha, I got to tell you, I took the quiz at moneyzen.com/quiz, and my results, I will share them now. I tend to focus more on financial health, it said. So it sounds like I need a little bit of a help with this blueprint.
A lot of us in the Bloomberg world, that's how we are. That's why I wrote the book.
Fun stuff, and fun to get some time. Glad to hear, though, that you are on a better trajectory as well. Congratulations. MoneyZen, the secret to finding your enough. Our thanks to Manisha Thakor. As we said, the book is MoneyZen, and joining us on Zoom from Maine. You took the quiz, huh?
I took the quiz, yeah.
All right.
MoneyZen.com/quiz.
And what was your result?
I focus more on financial health rather than emotional health.
All right, I'm going to do this.
You got to do it.
Is this like the Bloomberg News quiz?
This one is easier because there are no wrong answers.
Okay, but it tells you what you are.
It tells you what you are, which might be scarier.